her eyes and she listens and she feels with her heart. And when she sees a problem, she has a plan to fix it. That's our Stacey. So I'm proud to be here tonight. And I'm proud of all the work that you all have done, because Stacey is that gift. And she's been a gift not only to Georgia, but to this entire country.
All right.
And we have stood with Stacey since 2007, when she came to the Georgia House. And she came to the Georgia House with plans. And if you know Stacey, she is going to challenge you to be your best self. And she's challenged all of us, and she's challenged this state of Georgia to be better, to be its best self. And so I have to yield to Al Williams, and we don't know what he's going to say, but we're going to yield to Al Williams. And I want to say that we stand in love, and I appreciate each and every one of you, because Stacey is indeed our gift.
Hallelujah. First, let me say, to God be the glory. 2007, I met a young lady that was unbelievable. 2011, I was blessed with being just one seat away from her in the State House, as long as she was our leader. And you know, I stand here tonight just so full of joy. My joy comes from the fact that in April of 1965, I marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge with John Lewis just to see that black folk got a chance to vote. I went to jail 17 times in the civil rights movement just to see that we could be here tonight to celebrate probably the greatest political mind this state has ever produced, and that's Stacey Abrams. I stand here tonight because I have 3 grandchildren that can look back and say, because of the struggle, because we bled, because we died, we're here this evening. And I want you to know my soul is happy. I am happy because I know that all things work together for good for those who love the Lord, and Bishop, who live according to his word. And I'm telling you, Georgia has never produced but one Stacey Abrams. And I want you to know that tonight we stand with a woman that stood for right. We stand with a woman that was here because women needed voices. We stand with a woman because children needed voices. We stand with a woman because we all needed voices. We stand with a woman who does not believe you should just love a baby as a fetus, but love a baby as a child. We stand with a woman that believes that you can believe in the Second Amendment and save the lives of second graders. I stand with her. And in the twilight of my political career, at 13 years old, my aunt and my mother drove me around a little community called Liberty County. And I knocked on doors for John Fitzgerald Kennedy because I believed this world could do better. And I've worked hard for Stacey Abrams because I know Georgia can do better. And I want you to know I will never, ever back down from the fact that we passed legislation to send billions of dollars to Georgia that a governor used for his political advantage and never got a Republican vote. I stand for those that stand for right. And I ain't scared to say it. I love Joe Biden because he's our president and he is honest, he's not a liar, and he's not an abuser of women. And I stand with Joe Biden. And so as I leave the stage this evening, and the bishop knows that ain't no Baptist deacon ever left after saying one time he was going to leave. But I'm leaving right now. And I leave you with this. This is an opportunity. It is a lesson. We will stand with Stacey. We will change Georgia. We will lift this state up. And we know that God knows that only what we do for Jesus will stand. And I stand with Stacey because she is for right. God bless you.
Well, good evening, Georgia Democrats and enlightened Republicans. Somebody say amen. I'm going to follow the theme of church. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. It is a privilege to be here. My name is Lisa Borders, and I'm Stacey's friend. You all are family. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. I met Stacey in 2004. She was deputy city attorney for the city of Atlanta. We went through a program called Leadership Georgia, and I subsequently ran for office and became president of city council. Stacey was my lawyer, and you know I got some damn good advice. Each and every one of us has watched her on this journey, and there are at least 3 things that have happened. Not just for Georgia, but for this country. We have all been informed, we've been inspired, and we've been impacted. Somebody, we've been informed, we've been inspired, and we've been impacted by Stacey Abrams. She's special. Are you with me? She is special. So let me tell you how special she is. In my life, she has been incredibly supportive. When my father passed, she was one of the first people that I called, and she was the only one who came to sit with me at 2 in the morning at Waffle House for 4 hours. The only one. She is talented. Every time I see her on TV, I get chills. She can roll with Rachel Maddow and anybody else they throw at her with the data, with the facts, and with the distinguishing argument. Amen? Stacey is also an advocate, not only for me and my family, but for you and your family and all of Georgia, and arguably for the country, because she was running for governor here, but she is the brightest star in the Democratic crown. Somebody, are you ready? She's also been my confidant. When I've had information that I needed to share or somebody I needed to talk to, I would share it with Stacey, and she would hold space for me and not share it with anybody else. You know, that's hard to find in today's environment. She's empathetic. I've watched her for 20 years. But I've also watched her on this campaign trail as she met people from all 159 counties in this state. And she was an active listener, empathetic for what was happening in their lives. Last but not least, I'll be 65 in a couple of weeks, but Stacey, she's young. She's young, which means we got a lot of time and a lot of stuff to do. And let me leave you with this. There can never be a rainbow without a storm. We are in the eye of the storm, and Stacey is the rudder. She is helping to guide us. She ain't going anywhere. She's going to be right here with the family. Supportive, talented, an advocate, a confidant, empathetic, and young. What does that spell? Stacey. Are you with me? Stacey, y'all get on your feet and welcome my sister from another mister. The one and only. The one.
In the shadows.
A public servant like no other.
Baby, kiss me.
Stacey Yvonne Abrams.
Your heart is glowing, and I'm crashing into you.
Hello. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Daddy. It is good to be here in this moment, surrounded by your love and support. And let me begin by offering congratulations to Governor Brian Kemp. Our state has experienced one soul-crushing crisis after another over the past few years. But even during these trying times, the fighting spirit of Georgia has prevailed. We've seen what's possible when we stand up for our neighbors and protect each other. We've made sacrifices. We've pitched in. We've seen each other's fights as our own, and we've done things we never thought we could. It is in the spirit of that endurance and that persistence that I decided again to run for governor. Look, I got into this race for one reason and one reason only, to fight. And not just any fight, a fight to save Georgia. A fight on behalf of our children and generations to come. A fight on behalf of our people, whether they know it or not. A fight for basic human rights that we should take for granted, but we have to struggle to hold on to. And a fight for the values that we hold dear and we may never sacrifice. I got into this for a fight for what we know to be true deep down in our bones, that the state of Georgia, the people of Georgia, deserve more. Over the last year, in big cities and small towns, in living rooms, in classrooms across the state, I have met thousands of people face to face. It feels like 2.3 million. And here's what I know for sure. We come from different backgrounds, different religions, speak different languages. We have different dreams, and we feel passionate about different issues in very different ways. But despite our differences, despite what people will tell us separates us, for the most part, we want the same things. We want to live in a Georgia that works for everyone. A Georgia where every person has a voice in our democracy and doesn't have to show up early to make it so. Because voting is a fundamental right, not a privilege for the wealthy few. A Georgia where we can all breathe clean air and drink clean water because we decided to use our power to fix our climate and save our planet, not drill down to take titanium out and spoil what we have in the state of Georgia. A Georgia where hope lives in the heart of every child, but it sits there, rests there along with opportunity because we invested in quality public education, a pathway to a life full of dignity, and no shooters in their schools. A Georgia where every person can not only afford to see a doctor, but there's a hospital if they need one. They can get their prescriptions filled because drug companies and insurance companies aren't able to block it, and because we've expanded Medicaid because 500,000 Georgians deserve access to health care in this state. That is why we fight. I am talking about the Georgia of our greatest imagination. And here's what gives me hope. Over the last year across this great state, countless Georgians were ready to come off the sidelines and fight for that Georgia. Standing behind me is one of the most extraordinary women I have ever known. From the moment I got into politics, I have always promised to level with the people of Georgia. And I am here to tell you that what we have architected in this state does not end today. And this woman is one of the reasons why. Lauren Growargo is our champion. She is our friend, and she deserves our praise and our thanks because this is the Georgia she's helping us build. I'm here because my friend Allegra Lawrence Hardy is one of the fiercest attorneys you will ever meet. And she has poured her heart and her soul and her time and her treasure to defending our rights and our democracy, and she will never be demeaned for doing for us what we can't do on our own. Thank you, Allegra Lawrence Hardy. I see in this crowd women and men who have been a part of this journey since I put my name on a ballot in 2006. And while I may not have crossed the finish line, that does not mean we will ever stop running for a better Georgia. We will never stop running for the truth that we know to be true, for the people we know need to see us, for the ones who don't know they deserve to stand, let alone run. And tonight, we must be honest, even though our fight for the governor's mansion may have come up.
Well, how about them dogs? Well, thank y'all so much. It looks like the reports of my political death have been greatly exaggerated. And listen, it is a great night to be a Georgian. I want to thank you guys so much for coming to be with our family tonight. Let's hear it for the best First Lady and the best First Daughters in the nation. As you all know, this has been quite the team effort for us, and it wouldn't be without these four ladies that have worked so hard and supported me in everything I've ever done. So I just cannot thank them enough for their support. Well, listen, there are so many people to thank, many who are with us tonight. Thank you guys. But first and foremost, thank you to the Team Kemp volunteers who put up yard signs, made phone calls, knocked on doors, wrote postcards, and got their friends and families out to vote. We would not be here without you. Thank you so much, y'all. I also just want to thank all the other statewide candidates and our state legislators who are here. Thank you guys and congratulations. I know you all have worked incredibly hard over the last few months, and I look forward to working with each of you over the next 4 years to keep our state moving in the right direction. Great, thank you. And all the hard-working Georgians across the state who came out to our bus stops, our rallies, our meet and greets, those who helped Lucy fill up our diesel fuel can. You remember at the bus stop when Lucy was holding the diesel fuel can, and we told you at those stops all across this state, we got all the money we need. It's just in your pocket. And I appreciate y'all supporting the girls with your contributions, but also just appreciate the strong grassroots supporters that we've had literally from Claxton to Calhoun. And finally, I just want to thank the campaign staff and our official staff for all the wood that they have chopped over the last several months. We love y'all. As you all know, we did not get distracted on this hard-fought campaign. Just like we have stayed focused on putting you first throughout my first term. We woke up every single day talking about how to build a safer, stronger Georgia for you and your family, and help your family fight through Joe Biden's 40-year high inflation. And we did that by focusing on common sense solutions to put more of your hard-earned tax dollars back in your pocket, like passing the largest state income tax cut in history, returning over $1 billion back to you, the taxpayers, and suspending the gas tax in this state since March. And we are not about to stop there. Come January 2023, we're going to send another $1 billion back to the taxpayers. And we're also going to give you relief on your property taxes as well. But we also focused on how resilient Georgia's economy has been despite the disaster we're seeing in Washington, D.C. and across the country thanks to Joe Biden. But in Georgia, that's right. But in Georgia, we have record low unemployment. The most people ever working in the history of our state. Historic investment in rural Georgia. In the 2 largest job projects in state history were announced just in the last year. But this campaign was also about keeping you and your families safe, and by backing our men and women in law enforcement. continuing our fight against gangs and human trafficking, and standing up to the pro-criminal, anti-law enforcement policies of the far left. And it was also about making sure our kids recover from pandemic learning loss and get the best education they can in a safe, welcoming environment, free from politics or divisive ideologies. As long as I'm your governor, we are going to continue to stand with our educators and put our students and our parents first. And as you all know, we took our campaign to voters who normally don't support Republicans, because no matter where you live or what neighborhood you are from, hardworking Georgians want their families safe, their streets safe, and they want good paying jobs and a quality education for their children. Our message to voters was about making sure they had the opportunity to achieve the American dream right here in the Peach State, no matter their zip code. Each day of this race, we talked about how Marty, the girls, and I think we live in the best state in the country to live, work, and raise our families. And we all know that my opponent disagreed. But looking at the results tonight, we made sure that Stacey Abrams is not going to be our governor or your next president. The people in this room and hardworking Georgians all across our state know these last 4 years have not been easy. Because of a global pandemic, loved ones were lost, jobs were cut, businesses struggled, and lives were uprooted. Nearly overnight, Americans from all walks of life were made to feel anxious, maybe even frightened for their future, their family's future, and the future of our country. This was an unprecedented challenge we had never faced before. There was no playbook. There was no widely accepted path forward. No silver bullet that could bring back our normal way of life. On top of that, you add in the 2020 election, pandemic politics, and a lot of people that didn't live here or vote here thinking they knew what was best for our state. At one point or another, the national media, Stacey Abrams, the healthcare pundits, far-left activists, liberal donors, presidents, both current and former, they all were attacking Georgia. They opposed our measured approach to protecting both lives and livelihoods. According to the pundits and the so-called experts, if you wanted to keep your barber shop open, you were a threat to public health. If you didn't want a government forcing you or your family to get vaccinated against your will, you were part of the problem. If you wanted to keep your job as a waitress at a local restaurant, they told you that it was too dangerous. If you wanted to go worship in a church, they said no. But you could go gamble in a casino. When parents wanted their kids back in the classroom instead of behind a screen, they listened to the National Teachers Union and the healthcare pundits who said no. But as you know, they didn't stop there. When we expanded days of early voting and made it easier to vote and hard to cheat with Senate Bill 202, Georgia's Election Integrity Act,
I'm a proud son of Georgia. And I'm grateful for all the work that you all are putting in. And I'll say more later, so I'm going to try to defy Baptist preacher gravity and not talk too long. But listen, we always knew that this race would be close. And so here, that's where we are. So y'all just hang in there. I'm feeling good. I do. I feel good. I feel good. And just hang in there and enjoy one another. I'm with you. And we know how much is at stake in this election. So thank you for being with me, and I'm grateful that we are together every step of the way. And if you can hang in here for just a little while longer, we'll come back and say some more. But in the meantime, I'm going to say to you what I say to my church every Sunday. Keep the faith and keep looking up.
Because that's what I was elected to do. There is no doubt the challenges we faced together over the first 3 years of my term prepared Marty and the girls and I for this campaign. Just like I told you on primary night back in May, we were outspent with over 90% of my opponent's money coming from outside the state. Just like in 2018, Stacey Abrams still had the big donors, the magazine covers, and the left-wing media. She had the talk show host, Hollywood celebrities, President Biden, and President Obama. And she even had Oprah again. But they ran into a big problem, folks. Despite all the fanfare, the money, and the fame, they didn't have you. As a construction guy from Athens, who started his first small business with a pickup truck and a shovel, I can't tell you how honored I am to be your governor for the next 4 years. You have honored us beyond measure with your vote, with your support, with your time, and with your resources. Most importantly, though, you have honored us with your prayers, and our whole family is grateful for that. But I will tell you, just like in 2018, this family and I, we are all in together. As you all know, there was a lot of people in high places who thought tonight's victory would never happen. But just like so many times before, you all and Team Kemp proved them wrong. The media, the National Democrats, those billionaire donors, the left-wing activists, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Oprah, and Stacey Abrams threw everything they had at us for the second time in a row. But you know what we did, y'all? We kept shopping, and tonight, we stopped Stacey and saved Georgia. But let me also make this clear. The media here and around the world watching this race will try to make this victory tonight about a lot of things. They'll say it was about Joe Biden. They'll say it was about Stacey Abrams, Donald Trump, or even Brian Kemp. Because that makes for flashy headlines and generates a lot of website clicks. But here's the truth. This election was about you. It was about you, the people of Georgia. The people who weathered the pandemic and emerged stronger than before. The people who came together and rejected the politics of division and hate. The people who stood up for what was right when everyone was watching. Because that's who we are as a state. Regardless of politics, we want to live in a state where our dreams for ourselves and our families are possible. Where a good paying job when you finish high school or college isn't hundreds of miles away, it's right next door. When an entrepreneur can easily start their own business to provide for themselves and their family. Where you can protect and serve your community wearing a badge and know that your citizens have your back. And your governor and this family has it as well. Where you can retire in a safe neighborhood, worship freely, and watch your kids or your grandkids on Friday nights at the ball field. That's the Georgia I know, and it's one worth fighting for. Tonight, hard-working Georgians from all walks of life spoke with a clear voice. They know which direction they want their state to go, and it is forward. They want this team to keep putting them first, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Across the country tonight, we took the first step in saving America. This election proves that when Republicans stay focused on real-world solutions that put hard-working people first, we can win now, but also in the future, y'all. So I tell you, let's celebrate this historic victory. While knowing there's still plenty of work to do. And I can promise you, this family is going to stay in the fight. Thank y'all so much for your hard work and support. God bless you, and God bless the great state of Georgia. Keep chopping, everybody.
And you just heard from Governor Brian Kemp, who is set to secure a re-election for Georgia's governor's seat. I want to take you through a little of the latest election results that are coming in. Brian Kemp still not called as the next governor of Georgia, a re-elected governor of Georgia, I should say, but that is expected. You heard from Stacey Abrams just moments ago, who conceded. Even we were told that she called Governor Brian Kemp to offer him that congratulations.
Yeah, you could really see the difference between the two. cheering, a lot of people in the crowds there, whereas with the Abrams camp, even tears up there on the podium, delivering that message. You know, Abrams had said both her and Brian Kemp really wanted the best for Georgia. They just had a different way of going about it. And so both of those speeches tonight, and as we are here, you know, almost up until midnight, we're still waiting for some numbers to come in, but it's looking like Brian Kemp will be our next governor again. He will stay in that position.
You know what stood out to me, and that's something, as you mentioned, both candidates said, that this election was about the voters, about Georgia, and they had that different vision. So let's take a look at some of those election results that are coming in. This is for the Georgia governor's seat. You can see that Governor Brian Kemp hasn't officially been declared the winner, but take a look at that difference in votes. 54% to Governor Brian Kemp, 45% to Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, a big difference there. And that was something that we saw in the polls even leading up to this election day. Brian Kemp slightly in the lead. It looks like that landmark communication study that we had been talking about really stayed right around there when it came to these results that we're getting in tonight.
And I want to talk about another race that is likely not going to be called tonight.
Yeah, right around midnight, and we're still going to be here monitoring this next race for the U.S. Senate race. Even the last time we checked, Maria, I think it was less than 1,000 votes between the two. So let's check on them now. We have a really still a hard-fought race there, and we're just going to update this again for you. But yeah, look at that.
88% of those votes have been counted, the AP estimates. But take a look. Those are specific margins over there. 49.1% to 48.9%. Very close.
I mean, look, that's what, 9,000 votes with just a quick math. And we've been talking about this all night, that 50% threshold. And with 88% of votes counted, you know, it's going to be it could be a runoff.
That's a race that we are going to be talking about for a few days. So definitely going into tomorrow, which is already today as of 1 minute ago, welcoming you to your Wednesday. Governor Brian Kemp expected to continue to be governor for the next 4 years.
Yeah, next 4 years, and you heard him talk about his hope for the future for these next 4 years. Job growth, something that was very important to him. The economy, which is what we also heard from voters was one of their top issues when they headed to the polls. So he said he wants to continue to keep Georgia strong and to continue that in his role as governor for these next 4 years.
And just because this live stream ends doesn't mean our coverage does. You can go to our website, atlantanewsfirst.com, or download the Atlanta News First app. Any major updates to this race, the governor's race, the U.S. Senate, especially as they officially announce the winners, that is going to come directly to your phone in a notification so that you don't miss a thing.
Yeah, and the website, always something that we can show people again for this stream. The Atlanta News First website will continue to keep you updated. We have folks who are just coming in for their shift. So all of us who are going to be right back here tomorrow, we already still have people working the overnights, checking everything for you.
It's a very lively newsroom throughout the night. And you can see several different elections called Lucy McBath, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Hank Johnson. Coverage of all of those candidates that were on your ballot on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com.